Hey there, film fans. I'm Jeff.
I'm Dave.
And I'm John, and welcome back to The Love of Cinema, a pod in which we'll challenge one another to discuss movies, both new and old, with a strictly positive critical eye.
That's right. And to avoid lazy negativity, we've made this episode a bit of a drinking game. So anytime we say anything negative at all about this film, about each other, about how Dave makes love like a harpooned raging monk in the act of receiving God, you're going to hear this sound.
Jesus Christ.
That sound means we're taking a drink, and we hope you drink along with us.
My wife!
Pour yourselves a glass as we deep dive a film about gerrymandering yourself.
Gerrymandering yourself. That's right, people. We are going to be discussing Altered States. The random year generator spun 1980. I guess 1981. I was so close last week, my guess. But the random year generator spun 1980, a year that we've been to before. Do you two fellas remember the movie we did last time? We decided to only do the most obscure movies from 1980 when we did.
Dude, I don't remember Tuesday.
Yeah, me too.
God, have we really been here before?
Yes. I'll give you a hint. It's a Bob Hoskins movie.
Yeah. Where he's the he's like a gangster, right? It was on Criterion.
It's like the Long Good Friday or the Last Good Friday or something like that. Long Good Friday. That's Bob Hoskins is the last time we were there. Yes. So we're going to do the setup again, the random year generator 1980. So we are going to give you the context, what was happening in 1980. Since we have been to this year before, it's going to be a lot of fun facts and prices and things that were going on to help solidify why this film really sets the mark on 1980, and I think it does. I think this is a very 1980 movie, especially in those weird demonic montages that are all over this. And William Hurt. Oh my God, what a... Probably this was a breakout for him on screen. You know, he'd been acting for years, went to Juilliard like 10 years earlier, but huge William Hurt performance. And also...
I must admit, though, at one point when he turns to his kid and says, "Hey, everyone thinks your father's going nuts." This movie's set in the 60s, but that is such an 80s thing to say to your kid.
Yeah, that's really funny. Also, Paddy Chayefsky wrote the novel and adapted the screenplay, apparently hated it and disowned it. And so if you watch the movie, there's another person who's credited. But if you go to IMDb, it's just Paddy Chayefsky, because it seems like he was basically like, please don't give me any credit, even though it seems like the dialogue was taken directly from his novel.
That's Paddy's pseudonym.
Is it his? Oh, yes. Okay, so he really didn't want to be...
Aaron? Is that who it is?
Yeah.
That's fine. Okay.
Actually, on that, I think it was the director actually said because he died like the year after the movie was made, and the director actually said,
Paddy Chayefsky was dead.
My heart leapt when he found out they hated each other that much.
They hated each other so much. This is director Ken Russell.
Wow.
So we're going to talk about Altered States, how we felt. I think it's first time watch for all of us, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about how we felt.
First adult watch. Dave? Yeah, I saw this at a drive-in when I was a kid, and I know
wrong with your family, man? Like what?
They thought they didn't. No one hired babysitters in the 80s. I guess they thought that I just was asleep in the back seat, but I was watching it up until a certain point, and then that's why I've never seen the ending.
Oh,
so I was like, "Fuck that," and went to sleep.
Well,
Jesus.
At least kids love Bigfoot, so maybe you love this movie. So anyway, we're gonna give you a little bit of time before we get there, because we got to get drinking. So again, if you're new to the show, we got the years that's going to set it up, 1980. Then we're going to talk about this movie, and at the end of the episode, we'll tell you what we've been watching, give you some recommendations. So if you need to get to your Altered States convo, just go ahead and scoot ahead a little bit. We'd rather you stick around and get the context and listen to us get drinking a little bit here, but we understand time is money. Go ahead and scoot ahead, check the show notes, and I guess that's it. John, you want to shout out some sponsors? I got one little mini review reprise, and then we can get to gripes and then the conversation. But let's do some sponsor shout outs.
Let's do it. We have a beer sponsor. Sometimes he gives us that beer. I haven't drank it in a long time, but I love him. His name is Carlos Barroso. The handle is in the show notes. The link on Instagram is cbarroso.beer. You can go there and like and love him as he makes all sorts of different brews, analyzes brews, goes and tastes brews.
Yeah.
Carlos Barroso, he's the man. We also have a music artist in residence. He gives us music that we use on this episode and every single episode. Sometimes we change up the music.
Appreciate that.
You can, we can use the music for free because we know this guy. His name is Dasein, Dasein. You can find the music available on all the usual music platforms. You can also go into our show notes and follow the links there. Go to our link tree. You can find links there. But basically, anywhere you listen to music, his music music exists. DASEIN, DASEIN.
Also, the music at the start of the show is different than the music at the end of the show. So make sure you listen to the end, because the outro really fucks.
Yeah, it really fucks. Nice, Dave. Also, check us out on YouTube. Thanks, Dave, for setting that up for us. Dave, you have a car now, and you live closer to Carlos than me, so you can do the next beer run. It's incredible.
Yes. Oh, I went there, and he didn't have any.
Oh, yeah, he just showed up, said, "Excuse me, I'm here." Also, last week we cut it from our show, but I am betrothed. We had a whole conversation about what betrothed meant.
Are you actually outed yourself now?
No, we're out. I'm out. We're betrothed. And John, we want to thank you, because John very quickly got into the Friends train, and he gave us the Friends reference about betrothed and what betrothed means in the Chandler episode.
Couple.
It's either the episode right after the proposal or the 2 after the proposal.
I think it is. I think it's episode 1 of season 6 or 7.
I think that's right. So we watched 1 and 2.
Jeff, just don't do the episode where you get up there and say the wrong name.
Yeah. Oh boy, that's good. That's good. It's good. And I love the episode where they're doing the wedding planning, and Chandler's like, he's like, what should he wants to do something, and they're like, no, like, you're wrong. We're just gonna talk about the ladies. And he's like, I guess only people who are involved in the wedding get to do the wedding planning. That's a good line. Pretty good.
Yep.
All right. You want to do
She
news
wants
first?
your opinions. She wants your opinion. She just hopes they're also her opinions. That's. I love my wife.
I mean, Angela.
She wants you to have opinions.
Yeah. Much love.
That's where it stops.
To my betrothed. Much love to my betrothed. Very excited. Can't wait. Okay. Do you want to do news first, or you want to do my my F1 take 2, or my take 1?
Do your F1.
Yeah, do it. I kind of been out of it.
Call for help.
Yeah, talk to us. What'd you think?
Well, so we saw it Thursday night in the giant IMAX in Lincoln Square. It's huge IMAX. The sound in this theater, I remember this from John Wick, but a lot of other movies, it's so loud, and the trailers are so loud that it's like obnoxious on the ears. So I really feel like they got to pull the sound back in this IMAX theater. The movie's fantastic. The racing sequences are great. I have to say, it was definitely too cheesy for me. I really, if I got to watch a first cut, I'm not telling them how to. You can push it, Dave. I see you reaching for it. You can push it. It is good. My friend Carl was with us, and he had seen it before, and he was like, "Oh my God, it's so cheesy." Like, he forgot how cheesy some of these things were. And it's like, they didn't have to be. They just didn't have to be that cheesy. So I wish they didn't go so cheesy. I also thought when they were using the announcement at the races to give us exposition for how racing works, I got like the Harry Potter Quidditch sequences vibes. And I also got like the pod racing sequence. Like, Anakin Skywalker is now in third place. And if he passes this, and it's like, those are kids' movies. And so whenever they sat there and like, we need to use the formation lap to heat up our tires, I was like, okay, I know that they have to do it. And Brad even said, like, that was the most stressful thing, is how do you not talk down to people who don't know the movie, the racing? Yeah. But how do you also,
unfortunately, it's essential.
But it just felt like a child. Like, it just felt a little cheesy. But the racing sequence, and also they broke so many rules. I do follow F1, and it's like he would never be allowed to drive again after that first race. He would have been suspended so bad for all of like this tactical shit. But it's fine. It was really fun. The racing sequences are great. The way they film those sequences, the sound, you really feel like you're in the car. It is really well done, and the story is compelling. So it's a little populist for me, but it's a fun, compelling movie. I still like Ford vs Ferrari better, and I really want to watch Le Mans, and I feel like I'm going to like that better. But kudos to them. It's really great, but it's cheesier than Maverick.
What do you think of Hans's score?
Hans's score is good. He was just having a little too much fun in some parts. There were some parts where he was like, 80s electronica, like, let's go 80s electronica, or early 90s
I feel like he took some cues from Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross's Challenger's score with the real thumpa, kind of leaning into the club music vibe, which I really like that main track, the main F1 theme. Like, that was a really groovy one.
Well, and when during the racing scene, when it was like the boom, boom, like that, it was really good. But there were a couple times where he was writing like themes and melodies that reminded you of those 90s movies that were a little cheesy. Like, I'm sorry, Free Willy's score is a little cheesy, you know? Like, but they had fun. Everybody had fun making the movie. It was really cool, but I don't need a sequel of it, unfortunately.
Probably worth seeing in the theater, though. Wouldn't you recommend?
Oh my God!
Like,
yeah,
because without all the technical blow your face back kind of experience, it might only be that story and kind of what you're talking about. And I could see some people agreeing with you even more at home if that's how they're going to take away. Anyway,
yeah,
I'm glad you saw it, Dave.
Also,
when are you seeing it?
What is up with that manager going out drinking with his like racer the night before race in Vegas. It's 1 o'clock. Like, him playing video games at the race weekend is fun. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it happens.
Anyway, all right.
She's so good. What's her name? From
Carrie Condon. Carrie Condon's amazing.
Dude, from Banshees and a million other things. Good God,
she threaded that needle well. I was like, anything you'd like to add, Professor? Like all those lines, like she was really, really good at threading that line with him. She's great.
Brad looked, I was like, I don't know how much acting she had to do to be attracted to Brad Pitt in that movie.
I'll say some of Brad's lines came across as insincere, and I think it's the writing was just like even he couldn't like. I don't know.
They can know which scene you're talking about specifically.
Well, especially earlier in the movie, but yeah.
Earlier in the movie bothered you the most? Okay.
I don't know. It's whatever. Anyway, it's fine. It's a good movie. I'm going to see it again. I might fast forward.
How do you think about, just really quickly before we move on, since this sort of has to do with entertainment news, Apple hasn't like officially announced how they're going to manage theatrical moving forward. This was kind of a one-off. Looking at the past year or so, Fly Me to the Moon, wasn't that the name of that movie?
Yeah.
I think that was the last one that went to theaters because they pulled Wolves. They did not ever plan on releasing The Instigators, which I really enjoyed. I think I talked about it on the show.
Is that Scarlett Johansson, Channing Tatum? Is that one?
Yeah. I think it was $100 million movie. And you know what? I haven't seen it, so I can't talk about it, but just everyone around the town now is kind of chit-chatting about like, what are they going to do moving forward? Like, are they going to try to just go film by film and kind of play it by ear and see what happens? If they think it's theatrical, they'll release it. Like I talked about a few weeks ago, they did not release Fountain of Youth, which seems like a no-brainer theatrical to me.
Oh, so the reviews for that weren't
kind of surprised.
The reviews for that were not good. But I mean, F1 made more money than Pixar's Elio, so...
That's true.
And Megan.
Yeah, and Megan.
Megan bombed,
yeah. It did really well. So whatever. Anyway, it's just something where I feel like this is telling me that we're kind of in a new era, at least for the big companies that have really they're a conglomerate, and this is a wing of their company, and they're not really dependent on just this for their income. I feel like we're kind of seeing this as a new thing. Like, we're never really going to know what they're going to do with their content. It's not like Netflix where you can kind of guarantee it'll be on Netflix almost instantly.
I'm wondering, has some
one of the traditionals,
some bright analyst pointed out that awards equals investment?
You would think. Yeah, I mean, I still feel like one of the other big companies is pushing against theatrical being the reason or the threshold for that. But I know what you're saying.
Well, yeah, because the awards they won didn't drive as much investment as they wanted because they were expecting like a 5 times return on their money, and they just didn't get it.
Yeah,
and they're not gonna.
Yeah,
you're not getting those.
Yeah,
that's not the business you're in.
Last year was it last year or 2 years ago that we had Scorsese's Killers of the Flower Moon?
That was last year.
That was 2 Oscars. That was not this past Oscars. That was 2 ago.
2 Oscars ago. This past year
it was like a year.
It's been that long since I haven't watched it.
Shut the fuck up, dude. Come on. I thought the movie was fantastic. I loved Killers of the Flower Moon.
Is this I think it will be the highest grossing Apple film for sure. Theatrical.
It's not even at 300 yet. It's like it's like trickling along. F1.
I think that's already surpassed Killers and Napoleon.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, Napoleon wouldn't be hard. Yeah, that didn't do well at all.
Oh, come on. Anyway, I'm just something to think about, folks. If you want to go watch it, it's kind of a weird little thing watching the biggest tech company on the planet choose how they're going to release stuff in a very untraditional way, film by film. It's interesting. Anyway,
that's true. All right. And Jurassic World did okay this past weekend. Maybe not as good as movies in the past, but none of us saw it.
Are you guys going to see it? I'm definitely going to go see it, but I was gone this weekend.
I think we kind of have to.
Do we have to? Yeah,
I think they're
making changes. I'm glad that they're making changes. I'm glad that they were like, we want to go
far
in.
Let's see what they've got. Come on,
because Jurassic World Rebirth just came out this past weekend, and it already has surpassed F1, which came out 2 weekends ago. So
yeah, we all just went and saw what fucking Mission Impossible 9 or whatever it was. Let's go and see the Jurassic Park.
But again, it's different. It's not just going to be them abusing Blue, and I'm glad that it's a little different.
Yeah, I mean.
Fucking
dude, if I'm watching this thing and one person's like, I'm out.
Which is what do you hated one of the movies? So was it John? You hated it with the fieriest of fire, like the third one of these reboots or the second one.
A lot of people hated the third one.
I don't know what you're talking about.
How many were there? This is the 4? There were 3 before this one, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I think that's what some people are a little confused about. Is this one a continuation of that saga, or is this like a revamp and we don't know where they are in the timeline?
They've reset. So yeah, I guess it'll be established.
It's 5 years after Jurassic World Dominion.
Okay, there you go.
It is a continuation.
Because they go back to one of the original labs from the first movie.
It feels very Lost World, where it's like they go back and there's like a new expedition that goes back, to the prehistoric region to extract some DNA, etc. So anyway, I think I'm going to agree with Matt, where he was like, it's a good monster movie, not a good Jurassic movie. But that's subjective, So maybe we did not like the fucking last one. We all saw it in theaters, and
it's always tough when you're competing with one of the best movies ever made.
Yeah.
Like unlike Mission Impossible, where we've talked about a lot, like sometimes these franchises improve dramatically as they go on, and somewhere in the middle is like the heart center.
Right.
Jurassic Park is, good God, can you imagine competing against that every time?
Yeah, you start a benchmark as like
way up there.
And I'm sorry, the Jurassic World story sucked. Those kids in that little pod being like, but why are dad and mom getting divorced? Is it because of me? It was like, oh my God.
Yes,
I used to see this shit on like Seventh Heaven, and now we're putting it in the biggest movie on the planet. It's God.
Apparently that was Shakespeare. I call him Shakespeare. Apparently that was Spielberg.
That was Shakespeare.
Apparently that was Spielberg's kind of model that he kept telling everybody, we just got to have kids, family issues, and horror and dinosaurs. And like somewhere in there is going to be the magic of what separates this from a typical monster movie, what separates it from a typical sci-fi movie. It's going to have that family dynamic, but
maybe it's like the Star Wars reboots. In theaters, it was exciting and it was fun. It's not until afterwards where you go, yeah, that's not going to age well.
I mean, that's a good ad for theaters, but yeah.
Good. Go see it in the theater. Anyway, okay.
Well, I am definitely going to see it. I'm looking forward to seeing it. This is the summer, right? For seeing this kind of stuff. I feel like the movie theaters, the numbers are, they keep going back and forth of like, are they as good as last year? And then comparing them to like pre-pandemic and stuff. Overall, it feels like more people are going back to the movies. And when there are movies that are worth seeing, and worth seeing is subjective, but well reviewed, or they have a lot of attention kind of leading up to it, people are showing up in fucking hordes. So that's fun. I'm hoping that will continue into third and fourth quarter, where we can really see, are you actually coming back to the movies to see good movies, or are we just going back to see the event movies? Hopefully it's the former. All right, let's do it.
Well, let's keep it moving. I'll save my gripes. I got a backlog here. I'll use them at some point, but let's get into our featured conversation, huh? So let's talk about the year 1980. We've been here before.
I was 8.
I think that. All right. I don't believe you. Were you 8? Yes, you were. Okay.
I was 8.
Never mind. Sorry. Okay.
8 years old.
All right. I
was already on my 3rd beer.
Which is why you're not drinking this month. Okay, cool. So let's do it. We like to start with the box office just to get the conversation going. 1980. I think you can guess what was the highest grossing movie that came out in the year 1980.
It's definitely part 2 of a pretty popular franchise.
They're all originals. No, it is. Of course it is. I'm looking through it. I was trying to like make a joke, and literally every movie's an original except for that. Yes, of course, John. Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, which beat Raiders of the Lost Ark in our summer blockbuster face-off, to the chagrin of several of our listeners that responded to us.
They were not happy about
that. They're like, Raiders is the quintessential summer movie. Episode 5 is a sequel, you fuckers. Okay, anyway. Number 2. Bunch of dads. Dads without kids, which are even worse in a way. All right. Number 2, highest grossing movie. This is according to Box Office Mojo, and the foreign box office is not very reliable back in this time period, so take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
But 9 to 5 is the second highest grossing movie.
I believe it. I saw that at the drive-in.
That beat.
Of course you did.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, that beat.
Dude, it's on my playlist. The song opens Deadpool 2.
I used to teach this like to kids as a group. It was really fun. Deadpool 2.
You've heard the sequel song to that, right? And this is not a joke. This exists. It's 5 to 9.
5 to 9, the overnight shift?
Yeah, I no, it's 5 to 9 where she's got her own business and she has to work from 5 to 9 to maintain it. It's for real, a song. You can find it on any Spotify, anything. And it's exactly the same beat. Yeah, lyrics? It's the same song. It even starts off with 9 to 5, but then the second part it goes 5 to 9. And it's actually quite an inspiring song. Look it up.
All right.
Number 4 is Airplane. Number 4.
Which in Australia was called Flying High.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Really? All of these beat Superman 2?
Yes. I don't see Superman 2 on this list at all. Any Which Way You Can comes in at number 5. Private Benjamin comes in at number 6. Coal Miner's Daughter, believe it or not, comes in at number 7. This is back when people read books. Smokey and the Bandit 2, there's your sequel. Fuck, that's my joke. Yeah, Smokey and the Bandit 2 came out here. Came in at number 8. Number 9, The Blue Lagoon. The Blue Lagoon. We definitely didn't do anything weird with anybody underage in that movie there. The Blue Lagoon. Yeah. And number 10, The Blues Brothers. Gosh, an SNL movie comes in here at number 10. A couple other movies that made some money here. Ordinary People comes in at number 11. More about them when we get to the Oscars. Popeye, Urban Cowboy. The Shining's number 14. Cheech and Chong's next movie, there's your sequel. Caddyshack. The Jerk, Xanadu, Fame, Flash Gordon. But there's a couple big dramas that I'm leaving out here. John, you want to shout out any dramas?
Have you seen Flash Gordon? You should watch that.
Flash Gordon in Space is Star Wars, right? John, any other movies you want to... You want to shout out?
Yeah, sure. Year?
Flash Gordon, the entire soundtrack is Queen.
Oh, man.
Oh, shit. Cool. Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun. I didn't know that.
It's campy as fuck.
First of all, did you mention Caddyshack?
I did, yeah. Caddyshack.
Okay.
That was the 17th highest grossing movie.
Well, we have... Sorry, I was kind of half listening to it. Did you talk about Raging Bull? Did you talk about...
No, Raging Bull was not in the top 25.
I didn't think so. How about David Lynch's Elephant Man? Come on.
Also not in the top 25, but I have it noted here. Yeah, no.
Also not available anyway.
We tried to... We wanted to do Elephant Man.
Yes, we did. And we couldn't find it to enter anything. Dressed to Kill.
Dressed to Kill. Number 21.
We have Carpenter's The Fog. Paul Schrader's American Gigolo.
Mm-hmm.
Hurricane Billy Friedkin's Cruising, starring Al Pacino, which I thought we did that. Did we not do that?
No, absolutely not. I've never seen that.
Did I just watch that on my own and mention it or something? Okay.
Did you just talk about it out loud?
You probably recorded a whole show.
Podcast? Yeah.
I probably talked about it and you guys just like cut it out.
Sitting on the couch. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely, that's enough. But as always, some really, really big standouts. What's y'all's favorite movie from this year? We never do that. We should do that, by the way. We should start doing that. We should all go around the horn and say our favorite, it doesn't have to be the best. It's just your favorite movie of the year.
I mean, Empire is pretty damn good. I love Raging Bull, though, but I mean, fucking Empire, guys. Dave?
I think mine's The Shining. How about you, Dave?
The Shining's up there.
Empire and Raiders.
Awesome. Cool.
Raiders is next year. Raiders is 81.
Why did we mention it then?
Because in the summer box office face-off, that was the 1981 movie, Dave.
No, sorry. In that case,
Friday the 13th.
Believe it or not, Xanadu was good.
Xanadu's great.
It's not. You don't like Xanadu more than fucking Empire Strikes Back. Shut the fuck up, Dave.
Empire and Xanadu. In that order.
Okay. In that order.
Don't turn around.
He fucking came at me over that one. Jesus.
And I rewatched The Shining. The Shining's so fucking good. Okay, anyway. Fame.
So
it said Fame. I was like, okay. Fame won a bunch of Oscars, mostly for music, by the way. Okay.
And spawned a TV series.
Couple quick things.
Musical?
Notes. We'll do some. And the musical, yeah. Alfred Hitchcock died this year. Legendary actor Steve McQueen died at the age of 50 after surgery to remove tumors in his neck after previously being diagnosed with lung cancer. So Steve McQueen died a young death at the age of 50. John Lennon was shot to death in 1990 in December, of course, and John Wayne Gacy was
1990 or 1980?
80. He died in 1980, bro.
You said 1990.
You did.
Sure
you know where I listen back the next day and I'm like, I can't believe I said this. All you have to do is call me out on it when I do it. Keep our podcast moving.
I did it. That's why I did it.
No, they love it when we fight.
I've made so many errors over the years that I'm so mad at myself about. Anyway, we don't have a producer.
No, it's fine.
Anybody want to produce our show?
I kept them all. I've got a montage.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Heaven's Gate bankrupts United Artists. Heaven's Gate came out this year. Don't forget that. The average cost to make a film rose to $6 million. Thank you, Ronald Reagan.
Oh my God.
The Palme d'Or went this year to All That Jazz, and it also went to Kagemusha, which stands for Shadow Warrior, directed by Akira Kurosawa.
Wow.
And the Golden Lion had a John Cassavetes film in there, Gloria. The Oscars.
Oh, Gloria. Thank you for mentioning Gloria.
Yeah. Ordinary People is one of the movies that won Best Picture, winning not very many Oscars. It only won 3. It won for Best Film, Best Director, Robert Redford, and Best Supporting Actor, Timothy Hudson. Oh, and sorry, Best Screenplay, Best Adapted Screenplay. So it won 4. But guys, so Ordinary People, we all know, a big famous movie. Robert Redford directed it. Robert Redford beat David Lynch for The Elephant Man, Martin Scorsese for Raging Bull, and Roman Polanski for Tess. So Robert Redford, how do you feel about
not for
that
directing,
Oscar?
for Best Picture, right?
For directing. He won for directing.
For directing, excuse me. And it's his first movie, if I remember correctly.
His first
Is that his
movie?
first directed film? I'm looking it up because what you just said, that sentence is insane. It's also not like it was an off year for those guys.
No.
Like each of those movies is one.
Is it category? Yeah. But also after Mean Streets and Taxi Driver and Alice Doesn't Live Here and New York's not very good. But like, I think a lot of people expected Scorsese to win. De Niro won, and it's like Robert Redford. Anyway,
all right, so his first movie that he directed was Ordinary People. I mean, this is the first time out of the box. Now, I can imagine, and of course it's a great movie, so it's no slight to Robert Redford, but God, I bet he had an amazing marketing machine around him because he was such a big actor, still making that turn. That wasn't very common back then for people to direct, coming out of being superstars. I think Clint Eastwood had started doing it by now, but anyway, that's a crazy sentence you just said. My God.
Also,
he was still beating people up at every which way you can.
Look, I'm all about we have good actors today, but just look at this. Actor in a leading category. Robert De Niro did win. It's his second Oscar. He won for Godfather Part 2 in a supporting category. He beats Robert Duvall for The Great Santini, John Hurt for The Elephant Man, which is, I mean, the fact that John Hurt didn't win is tough. Jack Lemmon for Tribute. Jack Lemmon already had 2 Oscars. And Peter O'Toole for The Stuntman. Look at that fucking category that Robert De Niro won in. And I'm sorry, we have good actors today. There's no category that's even close to that happening anywhere now. Best Actress, Sissy Spacek won for The Coal Miner's Daughter. She beat Ellen Burstyn, Goldie Hawn, Mary Tyler Moore, and Gina Rowlands. Like this is, I mean, these are just, I know, these actors are stacked. Mary Steenburgen would win for Melvin and Howard and Timothy Hutton, I just said before. Yada, yada, yada. And then Fame won a bunch of songs, including the song Fame, I'll live forever. Which sounds like a very 80s song, even though it also pulls on a lot of 70s disco-y themes. All right, let's go into the world events here, and then we can get into this film.
There was a moment in the 80s where they didn't realize, the 70s didn't realize disco was over. So it carried on to like 81.
Rock With You came out at the end of 79, you know, because it was Off the Wall came out in 79, and then some of these were released later. I think it was 79. If it was 78, I feel bad, but I think it was 79. Okay, 1980, are you ready? The Post-it Note came out this year. 3M launched the Post-it Note in 1980, known for their convenience and versatility. That's right. Ronald Reagan was elected president. The former SAG president would become the nation's president, and then he fucked every single one of us over in 1982 when he decided that stock buybacks were not fraud. They went from being fraud to why would you invest in your company when you could just fucking blow up your stock, an imaginary number, by buying your own shares to manipulate the market? It is the dumbest fucking thing. It is not returning money to your stock. Everybody was like, why wouldn't you return money to your investors? No, you're not returning money to your investors. It's not handing money to your investors. It is inflating the share price, by manipulating it, not investing in product, not investing in development.
One of the reasons we introduced the gripe timer. Because this rant went on for 3 minutes the first time I lasted.
Fuck you so bad, Ronald Reagan. I hate you so much. Miracle on Ice happened this year. The U.S. defeats USSR in Lake Placid. The average cost of a new home is $68,000. The average rent is $300 a month. Missed those times. CNN starts here in 1980.
Ted Turner.
How about that? CNN and Ronald Reagan enter the same year, huh? A fire destroys the MGM Grand in Vegas. We talked about that. Mount St. Helens eruption happens in Washington, which killed 57 people. The Rubik's Cube debuts here in 1980. It starts the craze. You'll see it in The Pursuit of Happiness starring Will Smith. There's a mini gold rush there in Australia too, Dave. People start uncovering gold And
Again.
It's like they're America, but 50 years late. And yeah, there you go.
Now, we had a couple of gold rushes.
Guess what? On May 8th of 1980, the global eradication of smallpox was certified by the World Health Organization. But some people know some people with autism, so therefore nobody's going to take vaccines. Yeah. Billions of vaccines, and they say, nah,
everyone
bad
just
for
sniff
you,
your
obviously.
blankets.
People are fucking stupid. Okay.
Blankets.
The top 10 baby names, the site that I use, by the way, I have to say this, whenever we do an even year, like a 10, so 80, 90, whatever, it's so annoying because it's all like 80s trends, and it's really hard to just give me this one fucking year. For some reason, 80 gets muddled. So the site that I had to use had 10 women, 10 men names, as opposed to 5 and 5. So the top 10 baby names, guess what? Both your names were on it again.
Sure.
But for women, Jennifer, Amanda, Jessica, Melissa, Sarah, Heather, Nicole, Amy, Elizabeth, and Michelle. I feel like Lou Bega just saying those out loud.
Yeah.
And then you have
Mambo
Michael,
number 80.
Let's see if any of these are surprising. Michael, Christopher, Jason, David, James, Matthew, Joshua, John, Robert, Joseph. That is the whitest sounding group of names I've ever heard in my life, by the way.
Sure. Yeah.
I know
so white you can light a room.
But a lot of J's in there. Not my J, but a lot of J's. Jason, surprising to me. Maybe because Friday the 13th came back out this year. Okay. Pardon me, do you have any Grey Poupon? Was one of the biggest quotes of this year. This year had a lot of good quotes, including Who Shot JR? That's right, the legendary finale
I remember
of
that.
Dallas. Yes. A couple other big fun quotes that came out this year. Surely you can't be serious. I am serious. And don't call me Shirley. Of course, from Airplane. No, I am your father. The oft misquoted line from Empire Strikes Back. And do you believe in miracles? Yes. Al Michaels. And last but not least, here's Johnny, which was not said by Johnny Carson or Johnny Carson's frontman. That was Jack Nicholson in The Shining. Big movie quote year. 1980.
Yeah.
A couple other things. A couple good books came out this year. The Bourne Identity by Robert Ludlum came out this year. How about that? The Pulitzer Prize for fiction would go to A Confederacy of Dunces, which I had to read in school. And I don't think schools are allowed to teach that anymore because it's really, really wild. Cosmos by Carl Sagan. The book was written this year, was published in 1980.
Wow, that's cool.
The Covenant, Ender's Game. People who like that series. Firestarter by Stephen King. God, Emperor of Dune by Frank Herbert. And Jailbird by Kurt Vonnegut came out this year. Popular TV shows, I already said Dallas. That was number 1. The other top 5 is The Love Boat at 5, MASH at 4, 60 Minutes at 3, and The Dukes of Hazzard, the number 2 most popular show. Shout out to The Jeffersons, which came in at number 6, and Little House on the Prairie. I cannot believe that bucolic little piece of garbage came in at number 10 here.
Oh my God, that repeated for so long in Australia.
Oh my God.
Hey, they're about to launch a new one. They're redoing it.
Of course they are. I love the Family Guy one. Okay, anyway, 1980, the United States Census, the population was 226 million. Again, we ballooned that to like almost 350.
Yeah, you ballooned that by not using balloons.
Okay, we're going to... Way to take a swing, Dave. We're going to finish this out with prices and top 10 cool food and beverage trends of the year. So prices first. I already talked about the average price of a home was $68,000. How about this? A gallon of gasoline was around $1.19 on average. Let's talk about Los Angeles prices today. How about $1.19? The average price of a loaf of bread was 50 cents. A dozen eggs was approximately 84 cents. The average annual salary was $12,000 a year. That I don't like. But they had healthcare, so who gives a shit? Or at least it was cheap. A movie ticket was priced at about $2.69, pretty cheap. And a Buick Regal came in at just about $8,000. A Plymouth Voltaire was a very popular car at $5,888. And a couple other ones here. You got Chicken of the Sea, solid white tuna fish. A 7-ounce can was 99 cents, which I can't eat because that looks and smells like cat food to me. Yeah. Go ahead and eat your fucking tuna fish in a can, you motherfucker, you sadistic assholes. Fish. Gordon's frozen fish
salad?
sticks. No, if it's like a freshly cooked, like grilled tuna, that's great. But if you give me tuna in a can that looks like it should be for a cat, no, I'm not going to eat that.
Not as the cat.
Never had a tuna salad sandwich because they definitely were using.
No, I don't
tuna.
like it. I don't like it. At the diner when people didn't have it, I'd be like, fuck no. Gordon's frozen fish sticks. A lot of fish sticks this year. 12-ounce box for $1.69. Elio's frozen pizza, a 12-ounce package for 69 cents. I'll take that frozen pizza. And then Pfeiffer salad dressing was a 49 cents for an 8-ounce bottle. And last but not least, food and beverage trends for the year. Let's see if Chicken a la King makes another return here in 1980.
No way, no fucking way.
Number 10, wine coolers. For all those cool college kids.
That's food. People were having wine coolers for dinner.
Sure. Yeah. Tab
soda, baby.
Tab soda comes in at number 9. Number 8, sushi. Just generally. Sushi. Number 7, Sloppy Joes. I know how you like them. Nice and sloppy. Ooh. Cool it later, you're scaring us. What movie's that? Name that movie. I got some sloppy
Adam
Joes
Sandler?
for you. Yes.
Is it Billy Madison?
Yes, Billy Madison. Yes. Good. Number 6, potato skins. Ooh. Just the skins. It's where all the nutrients are.
Even in the fucking Depression, they had the whole potato.
These are just the skins.
Come on. Bacon, cheese, sour cream.
Hell yeah. Ooh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, we do that
Number
with
5.
The whole potato.
Yeah, that's smart. Number 5, lean cuisine. I'm surprised. People are already trying to pretend like they're watching their diet and not just have the fucking Hot Pocket. Eat the Hot Pocket. You don't need that lean cuisine. Number 4, Jawbreakers. Number 3, frozen yogurt. I still love me a good frozen yogurt. Number 2.
Number 3?
Number 2, Equal. Is that the fake sugar packet?
Whoa.
Yes, Equal?
It's all the sugar sandwiches again. They're back.
Yeah. And number 1, the number one food and beverage trend of 1980, according to this random website, was Cool Ranch Doritos, which I think is also a returning champion. Cool Ranch.
Yeah. And is that the one they just discovered gives you cancer?
Quack. Dude, come on. Cool Ranch Doritos? Fuck yeah, dude. That's so funny.
You can't start quacking. Dave, they all cause cancer, right? Does this one cause more because of the chemical they put in it?
No, it's something to do with the coloring.
Definitely causes cancer.
Equal, yes, for sure. All of these things that just are meant to get your body to salivate as much as possible. Like, how do we ping those salivatory glands? Okay. You ready to talk about our movie?
I mean, just touch the back of the throat. That'll get it going.
I wouldn't try that at home, people. We are not medical professionals, obviously. Okay. Are you ready to talk about Ken Russell's Altered States from 1980? Director of photography, Jordan Cronenweth, who you may know because he was the DP on Blade Runner.
Yeah.
And many other.
Never heard of it. Yeah.
Never heard of it, sure. Nominated for 2 Oscars, Best Sound, which it would lose to Empire Strikes Back, and Best Music Original Score, which it would lose to Fame. So
that's kind of
John Corigliano wrote that score, and it's pretty damn good. All right. Shooting from the hip. We've never seen this before. What'd you think? What'd you feel? I'm going to read the IMDb description and send it on your way. Altered States, 1980. Here we go. A psychologist experiments with drugs and a sensory deprivation tank and has visions he believes are genetic memories. Psychologist. And they know what they're doing with that double entendre and this marketing ploy, Dave. A psychologist who is also a psycho, William Hurt. What'd you think? What'd you feel? This is a renter.
It is.
Dave, we tend to start with you, and you give us nice, concise little starts here. Shoot from the hip. What'd you think? What'd you feel?
I just want to say the Blu-ray streaming version of this looks amazing. Like, it's so clean.
They rented?
Possibly. You can tell which version you're getting from how shiny the Warner Brothers logo looks at the start. If you get the 90s logo, it's the Blu-ray one. Or the early 2000s logo. If you get the 90s one, it's the DVD release, and if you get the original 80s logo, it's the VHS.
No kidding.
Yeah.
All right.
So if it looks nice as computer generated and flies in, you've pretty much got the Blu-ray version, which just was cleaned up nicely.
Okay. Yeah. What'd you think of the movie?
I
we know what he thought of the logo.
Yeah, I thought I've been very vocal about that. this was always billed as a horror film. I don't see this as a horror movie. Like, at all. It's, if anything, it's like the B-grade 50s horror where, like, in any sci-fi and horror, there's two types of scientists in those movies. There's the one that no one listens to till it's too late, and there's the one that doesn't listen to anyone else. And this has both.
Yeah.
And they're
Bob
fighting
Balaban,
each other.
shout out. We got to love Bob Balaban.
And, like, when it goes into psychedelic imagery and stuff, it is just... Dude, could you imagine getting baked and going to the drive-in and then this fucking comes on?
Yeah, you did when you were 8.
You'd freak the fuck out. Like, for real.
You got high on Cool Ranch Doritos and you went to the drive-in with your parents and watched this movie.
I found it a solid watch. I wasn't bored. The story moves quite well. Then it gets really fucking weird, which I'm kind of into. So I found this a solid watch.
And you chose this. You were the one who, you were like, I'm leaning towards this. And well, of course, we wanted to do the Elephant Man, but look at Dave. Look at the big brain on Dave. I'm surprised. I love it, Dave.
Wow.
John?
I think my favorite thing about this movie was how subtle it was.
Get the fuck out of here.
I will. I mean, I can back some of that up, but yeah.
Honestly, I'm not making light of it. It took me a little while to get used to how big of a swing Ken Russell is taking with the filmmaking in this. Yes, in that, I think if you have that mindset and you know where I'm going with this point, it applies to what you're saying, Dave. I bet it'll have anything that we're talking about critically, like. It's one of those movies that they basically were just like, there was no subtlety ever. And that is the point of it. I think, you have to really just get on board with, like, we're going to be bold, non-fucking stop. Even down to, and I don't know what the screenplay was. I know Paddy was mad about whatever they put on screen, but I mean, a sentence
no, it was almost word for word. He was just unhappy that they shouted his dialogue, apparently.
Which is funny because I thought Hurt did a lot of subtle acting in here. I mean, obviously, some parts got a little crazy, but
sure. So I guess more about storytelling. They would finish it's something as simple as, like, they would finish a sentence of, like, well, then we need to do that. Boom, we cut right to it. It could be something as simple as that, or it could be something really obvious, like the montages. The editing style in general is just so in your face, and then the weirdness with what happens to him is so intense with the way that they choose to show it. I mean, nothing is. Everything is a big swing. So once you kind of start getting on board with that, and you start really just suspending your belief, because initially they set this up, like it's I thought it was going to be more of a psychological horror film. Like, it was going to be more about what he was saying was happening to him.
The Fly, this is not.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I thought it was really going to be something more like that. So I was surprised at how far they took it visually and literally with the physical transformations that we'll probably get into and stuff. So about 30, 40 minutes in, I really understood what I was watching, and I started smiling more and, like, having fun with it, and realizing that the message they're saying, I mean, I have done my fair share of psychedelics in my life, and I
was going to ask, do you already have tickets to go and find that tribe?
I mean, honestly, dude, what's funny is that, like, in watching these editing, because I talk about this a lot with people who are filmmakers and who are trying to show, like, what does it feel like to trip on screen? Like, it's always hard to actually do that. Do you do this kind of style where it's a lot of, like, montages and stuff, or do you try to just do very subtle things, like in Midsommar? Like, what's the best way to kind of, like, show you what it feels like? Everything that he experienced in this movie, I think I experienced the first time I tripped. It just may have happened in a second, or it may have happened in an eternity, and you don't know the difference. And when you're watching a movie, you're kind of stuck watching it in what we would call real time, even if it's film time. So, like, everything that was in here, I think anyone who is into that culture and is into the way all the mind-bending altered states that come from psychedelics.
Oh, that's the name of the movie. Whoa.
Sure. So, whoa, titular. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this was a fun ride, and I had fun discovering how to watch it as it went, because I really knew very little about this. I had never seen a trailer. I'd never seen any footage from it. Even that photo that you sent with that, who was one of you guys, right? Oh, my mouth's open. I didn't even know. I was like, I kind of looked away because I was like, I'm sure that's in the movie somewhere, but I didn't even want to look at the photo too hard. Special effects is really, really cool. Like the practical special effects.
Yeah. That still holds up.
Yeah.
And moments like that are on my screen behind me are maybe my favorite thing about the way they handled the effects, was that when they would go in and out of the transitions from him as a human into that mindset, and then in the middle of them, they would kind of see him a little bit, and the way they would come out of them, I always felt like a real sense of relief, which is very similar when you're tripping really hard and you kind of come back to your senses and you kind of come back into yourself. It kind of looks and does feel a little bit like that. So I thought that there were a few things that they just really nailed, even though it was very much in this world of suspended. That would, of course, no one is ever going to turn into a monkey when they take, mushrooms or something. That's ridiculous. But
I've been so scared my whole life. I didn't know that.
In Cheech and Chong, they turn into a lizard.
Sure.
Yeah. John, you're saying really you never ate a sheep that looks like a deer while tripping? That never happened to you?
Dude, when he woke up like that, like 40 years later, I finally get the beer fest joke, because there's one where they have they all get drunk, and one guy wakes up in the fridge eating ham. Another guy wakes up in a field naked with a dead sheep next to him. And he's like, oh no, not again. I finally got the joke.
That's so funny.
Wait a second.
That is really funny.
John, how often is it that Dave mentions a beer fest reference? I feel like it's clever. Maybe
first,
once every 2 months.
Time.
Hey, for a while that was one of my favorite movies, dude, because they just fucking went for it.
It's still there. It's still in there. I think you're both onto something, because I think that the trick with this movie is understanding that it's okay to laugh. Because it's like, because some of the sci-fi stuff they bring up, I feel like all our best sci-fi starts with a premise that makes so much sense, even though there's something about it that's either impossible or like it's really like Jurassic Park. We talked about it before. It's like the idea, the mosquitoes and molasses and the DNA being stored. It's like, okay, interesting. Actually making a dinosaur, that's a different story. But like, okay, it's like just all I need is that, and I'm cool. We got Jurassic Park, right? In this, the idea of our genetic code has been passed on for centuries, millennia, and therefore it's stored information in the code. Interesting idea. I'm okay with it. That person becoming Bigfoot and then unbecoming Bigfoot is pretty fucking weird. It's pretty strange.
Yeah, dude.
And it's like, if you can't laugh at that, because I can't tell. The director kind of looks like he's being serious, and so I can't tell. I know
when
he
went in the
subtle.
tank by himself, and he basically turned into me at 3 a.m. in New York City after the bars.
Right. So, yeah. And I don't know why it becomes a poltergeist at the end. Like there's all these.
No, that was an amoeba.
Whatever it is, it's like fucking. And so it's like it's hard to wrap my head around it, because if I want it to be serious science, I'm going to be really disappointed. If I want it to just be a laugh, I'm going to be really disappointed. So it's a very weird, unique subgenre that combines a million other genres, and it was hard for me to sink my teeth in. I can't pretend like I love this movie, but I'm with you in the fact that it was like hard to look away. I was really entertained. And I'm happy that, for instance, when they go into the tank the last time, not to spoil anything, but it's like, I'm happy they just fucking went there. Like, if they dragged it out any longer, it would have, like, if they explained any more, I would have been like, I'm out. But it's like, we got to do it again. We got to, whatever, let's just go. And okay, fuck it. Why not? You just literally like ate a sheep and like got in a fight with dogs.
Yeah, dude, that guy's a beast. He's running through the city naked. I'm not getting a fight with a wild dog with my balls out.
Yeah.
That's not happening.
He just started like throwing like cans at the dog. Anyway, so that's basically all I want to say. I have a lot of things in here that I really want. I had to take a couple notes here and there, but it's also funny that like the score at the beginning is so dramatic. It's like it wants you to know that this movie's fucked up, but again, it's like, like the Monty Python drum score, where the people are running and then it cut, and they're just running forever, and it's like it takes you a second to realize it's funny. I wish I knew from the score that it was fucked up, but it's also kind of funny. So I feel like it's not a great film, but it's an interesting film that I'll be thinking about. I'll definitely reference this in my beer fest, Dave, for sure.
Yeah, I still don't know if they want you to be.
I know. I don't know. What do they want from me? What do they want?
I think this was meant to be kind of serious.
I know. I think so too. Which is probably why Paddy was like,
Chayefsky probably saw it as something more grounded.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's more in his mind. It was more. I'm not comparing it to this movie, but I would imagine his intention when he wrote it was for it to be much more cerebral, psychological, and dramatic than what we kind of now dub body horror. Like in that space of where you're saying it's more about metamorphosis physically than I think, and that may be a rule that I wonder if Ken Russell talked about when he was in pre-production. If we start focusing too much and the audience feels like there's too much about metamorphosis and we lose them psychologically, have we gone to another place? Is that now becoming another movie? I would love to ask him about how they kind of went about that, because it clearly is set up to be that. I don't want to get away too far. Let's just say it out loud before we start talking about details. The thesis of this movie is very clear. And she says it first, and then he realizes that at the end that, and I'm not going to say it word for word, but basically there is no ultimate truth. There is only the ultimate unknown. And that's why we humans create our truths in love, experience. We put meaning and purpose into our behavior. That's why we try to, because there's no fucking answer out there. Religion or not, no one can actually say they know for sure. And he eventually basically says the same thing. I went to the edge. I looked into the eye of God, and I realized there's nothing there. And that's now I know I love you.
Wow. The lengths he had to go to.
And I wrote down
Elizabeth, literally at the end of this, Elizabeth was like, a story about the lengths a man will go to try to not commit to his wife and children.
I thought the same thing. I wrote down this. I wrote down, how special does a man need to feel just to make love with a woman? This man made making love so difficult. I mean, he literally, like in the middle of making love, and it seemed like they were about to finish, she's like, is everything okay? And he just goes, when I was 9 years old, I used to have visions. And it's like, wait a second. If
actually what he says is,
if two people are,
what are you thinking about? He says, God, Christ, and crucifixions while staring at your radiator.
Yeah. When two people are currently one,
I mean,
when two people are literally connected and they are currently one, if somebody says, when I was 9 years old, it's like, out of here.
Yeah. Hold the phone.
Yep.
And then, he literally needs to have he needs to go back 1,000,000 years in time to come forward again, to basically give up. It's like he needs to give up. He needs to get it out of his system before he finally says, "Oh, I do love you." I thought there might be more, but there's not. So therefore, I do love you. Yeah. So it's like love wasn't enough.
You're my second choice.
It's as good as it's going to get.
Hi, you're my backup bitch. And when you reduce yourself to a single cell organism.
My first bitch was me going back 1,000,000 years and being a fucking man, a monkey man. But actually, that's unsustainable. So I love you.
He literally reduced himself to a single cell organism. When you accidentally do that, it's time to just publish some theories and put a big fucking padlock on the tank and maybe, commit to your wife.
I will say
she's a fucking Harvard professor.
Maybe. Yeah.
My first really big trip, I basically had, and I wasn't like in love and married with kids and stuff at the time. I was single, but I basically did have the exact same kind of recognition where you get down to like single cell and you feel like you're seeing like the eye of God or whatever, the birth of creation, whatever that thing is or was. And I came out of that thinking like, oh, there is no meaning. We find meaning. Like there's nothing out there that is directing you toward any of this shit. That's what makes being alive so incredible. That's what makes being a human so incredible, is that we can recognize things that do matter. And they chose to make a body horror, surreal.
You didn't need to almost kill two security guards to come up with that conclusion.
Yeah, probably.
Really crazy. All right, so let me ask you
guys.
Why
was he staring at the eye of Sauron too? Why is it in his sexual, like who has sex and is literally staring at the eye of Sauron?
Dude, that is a recurring image. There's a recurring image in a lot of psychedelic renderings and culture and stuff. Tell me this, because I think you guys are going to agree with me. I was still in a real world thinking this was going to be a psychological thing with maybe like they were going to start to play with a little bit with the physicality and physiognomy of what was happening that maybe is inexplicable but isn't permanent or observable. When they when he came out the first time from the Harvard tank, remember, and he was like, take my blood.
Yeah.
Check my fucking neck. And they saw that. I was like, whoa, what is happening? I was very, very invested in the reality of the world. And most of the world was taking place up here and here. And I was so on board.
This is an audio format. So John just pointed to his head, and then he used his hands to mimic mouthing. You can't just say here and here to people with a podcast.
Here, show me on the doll where John touched you.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ. When his monkey hand opened that thing, that's when it really took me a second. Like, I did not smile for the bulk of that sequence where Monkey Man is on the loose in Cambridge, Massachusetts. But the last few minutes, when they really, it started to tell me something. Like, that was the change for me, I guess, is all I'm trying to say. When it got there, because again, I had never seen anything about it. I did not know that was going to happen. I didn't know what the end game was at all. It took me about 10 minutes of that, where when I was watching, in my head, I was thinking, like, what the fuck why are we watching? What is this just like a sequence of this guy running through the city? I was just like, what is the point of this sequence?
Up to that point, I was willing to think that this is how he was seeing himself, but it was actually just naked him running through the street. But then they fucking took it to the next level and committed.
I think what they were going for. The only trick is, though, then they got rid of his point of view altogether. So he went from being the lead to the movie to being a distant supporting character. Yeah. And I don't know if that benefited the movie as well as it sounds. Because as soon as he wasn't human anymore, then all of a sudden we were observing him from the outside. But he was the lead of the movie for most of it.
Especially, oh man, you're making a good point. Remember in his retelling or his recall of that experience where he says, you only remember bits and pieces. I remember running from wild dogs.
Yeah.
And like being afraid of them. And then that's what got me to the zoo. And then I remember feeling hungry. I do wonder if they could have played a little bit with point of view there, because I was also, and it doesn't matter if we understand it or not. You're not supposed to understand this. And of course that's true. But I was a little taken aback by the fact that it was clearly not John Hurt in makeup running around. William Hurt. It was clearly not William Hurt in makeup running around as an ape form, as though he had reduced in some way. And he literally says a little bit later, like when he's listing the features, I can't remember if it's a voiceover or something. He says like a 4 foot something primitive man, the first form of man.
That was from his first trip. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just, I don't know. I guess there was I think, Jeff, maybe you're touching exactly what really started to, and it's not better or worse necessarily, depending on who's watching. I know our friend Mark from Mad and Mark Movie Show, he really loves this movie. It took you a little bit away from the dramatic relationship you had with your protagonist when it did start to feel more about the metamorphosis and transformations than about how he experienced those experiences. Because he tells you how he feels about them. I thought they did a good job. I was totally on board. The storyline in the second half where she comes back and she has basically been told he's losing it. And they have these great fights and these scenes where she is very convinced that something is happening to him. And he really is on a whole other level. And I was totally down for all that. Anyway, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I want to praise William Hurt in general, though.
He's amazing. He's awesome.
Holy shit. Everything we're saying right now, whether or not any criticism we have, it sounds like it would have been dramatically cheesier or harder to believe if you had not had somebody that talented doing something this extreme.
Yeah.
I mean, it's super extreme, right? I mean, the stuff that they're asking him to do and say and fight about, and it's ridiculous.
I was blown away from the very beginning when he's hitting on her, and it's like the weirdest pickup. And he's like, "Will you come home with me?" And it's like, I was like, "What?" And I just it just reminded me of another time. Like I was totally enraptured by this person who has so much that he wants, and so much that he wants to achieve, and he's picking her up, and she, it's like, how does she say no, even though it kind of comes out? I don't know. It was just blown away by that.
What about the super pragmatic proposal in the hallway?
Well, I said, really sexy proposal. Yeah, so hot. Yeah.
Well, let's give a little credit to the language that Ken Russell developed. They met in a hallway. Remember, they opened the door open, and you see him in a backlit, blown out white. You have the proposal, and then that ending came out of nowhere for me.
Yeah, right.
He walked around the corner and she was like, "Ah!" Like I did not see, like, that was another thing I'm talking about where, like, he said one thing, no, I'll never be able to get rid of it. I was like, maybe we're 10 minutes away from the end. Like, we're going to have one more. This is a false resolution. And nope. She walks in there and he's like,
we're blowing the rest of our budget right now.
Yeah.
Good God.
That sequence actually used computer assisted rotoscope. Very early stuff.
Oh. Very early, I would imagine. Yeah. Wow. Holy shit.
But they like literally like manually traced them with like an electronic pen, and then it was like put onto was it Mylar animation cells? Yeah.
Or did Photoshop exist yet?
No, not in 1980. Yeah,
that was like 6-8 years later.
Because this is William Hurt's first movie. He's 30. He had only done theater up until this point. I mean, come on.
30. Wow.
He was 30 in this movie. Maybe 30 when it came out, so maybe 29 when it fell. He obviously looks more mature than that. But no, I mean, this guy, he went to Juilliard and he was just doing theater for decades. And he had done like a TV show or two. But this is like his first proper film. And he's the lead of this movie. And he's fantastic.
He does this. And then 1 year later, I won't name them all, but Body Heat. So Altered States.
Yeah.
Body Heat. Midsummer Night's Dream, The Big Chill,
The Big Chill in
Kiss of the
83 is
Spider
big.
Woman, Children of a Lesser God. I mean, just
those are huge. Yeah,
I mean, really masterful performances.
So he wins an Oscar for Kiss of the Spider Woman, which we talked about. That's from 1985.
Oh, but, did you see they're making a movie?
Yeah,
again.
Yeah. Is it about the musical though? It is the musical.
It is the musical. Jennifer Lopez plays. It is the music. It's a musical. It is an adaptation of the musical.
Too bad.
Which means the pot song is back.
The pot song, Dave. You love the pot song.
Yes, you played. Yes, yeah. Marta. I don't know if we'll get to hear that one, but that's my favorite.
I love Marta. Sure. Of course.
Okay, so what else is really strong about this movie? Let me ask you guys this question, and I am not being critical of her, the actress. I'm curious about in the storytelling. William Hurt felt very grounded to me, and she felt. It's almost like the people around him. She's the closest one to him. Blair Williams, was that her name? What's her name, you guys? Who plays his wife and the amazing anthropologist, Blair Brown. So she's the closest to him. Obviously, you see Bob Balaban at the beginning. He's one of his research partners. And then Charles Hayde plays Mason, he was funny and over the top and wonderful. I really
kind of sounded like Martin Sheen.
Does fantastic storm-offs.
Yes. So all three of them, even Bob Balaban in his own, like, it's not over the top. It's very small. Like, he has his own kind of thing. All three of them kind of felt like they weren't in reality. I don't really know how to say it. They all felt like they were kind of in this slight heightened place that was supposed to be the real world, but they didn't feel like their performances felt directed to be bigger or smaller or more exaggerated or too small, something. You know, did you feel that way at all? Like, I felt like William Hurt was isolated in intense realism, and they were doing something else, and it felt intentional, like they were told to do that. Do you agree with that, or did you feel that way at all? Or
yeah, you might be right.
I don't know. That's interesting.
Now that I'm thinking about it,
it's an interesting thought. Yeah,
I mean, Mason, screaming everything, and it was so intense, and it almost felt like he was in like a different comedy. Like, he was really playing like the satire of like the brilliant doctor that was freaking out about his crisis of having to deal with, is this actually real? And he was just in intense refusal and screaming and cursing. Bob Balaban seemed like miraculously subdued, and until that last scene where he is kind of saying, "I'm on fucking fire," which that was probably my favorite line in the movie.
Yeah,
where his rant
he was
up to that.
He was. I can't believe how into it was, because he almost died, and I was like,
I know. Oh God,
awesome.
Let's talk about that scene in a second. And then Blair in general, Blair Brown, his wife, Emily Jessup, William Hurt's wife in the movie. She almost seemed like she was like this ingenue that like was really romanticized, like overly romanticized, which definitely made me think about, like, I'm sure that had to do with like the love aspect. Is he ready to love? Like, she so strongly represented this almost this caricature of a female, an American modern female, like trying to fall in love with someone. And then eventually, like, she seemed like she kind of joined them in the scientific version of that, where she was also putting on her brilliant anthropologist cap, and she was the one screaming no and talking about all the existential threats. And it just seemed all three of them seemed like they were in a different thing. And I'm so interested to know if Ken Russell did that on purpose, or if they cast it knowing like, oh, I'm not going to have to tell them anything. That's how they perform. So that's what I want. Or if he didn't think about this at all, and it's just the way it felt and came together. And I don't know. I can't stop thinking. That's the main thing. Every scene, I was like, every fucking scene, it feels like William Hurt is more grounded than they are for different reasons and different scenes. I don't know. Anyway. Okay.
I want to touch on cinematography for a minute.
Do it, dude.
Because literally no filter. Like the reality shots were filmed straight down the lens. No filters, nothing, to make it so much more like clean and grounded. I think, and it really, once they hit the cinematography, like the psychedelic stuff, it really created a good like position to come from.
Yeah.
And it made them more impactful.
Sure, yeah. So interesting.
I think my favorite cinematography, and this is like again, if you could see this image behind me, there's some amazing optical effects that they did. The cinematography, it would be reductive to say that the special effects cinematography was not as moving as the reality, but some of the stuff in reality were my favorite shots.
Yeah. My favorite shot in the film is actually one of the ones based in reality.
Which one?
When they picked them up from the police station, they stopped at the lights, at the traffic light, and it just shows him and the guy in the front of the car, but it's like, oh, we need to let them know they're stopped at a traffic light, so you can see the reflection of the color of the traffic light in the bead of water in the foreground on the windscreen, and then it changes to green and they go, and it's like, what a really fucking subtle way to put that in camera. Let's just bead up the windscreen.
That was really strong. There were a few moments that were just like, it's a sign of the times. There was some patience and some restraint in the cinematography and the direction.
Right.
When Mason and Emily, right after that, when they bring him home and put him to bed, they go and the camera is outside the house and it's tracking across the house as they cross into the living room and they have a big conversation with each other, and it's just one big take, and they start wide and they're on the other side of the room, and eventually ends with them right in front of the camera, in front of the window, and a close up. That was really good. But I think my favorite one, which I know it's really obvious and we've seen this before, but it worked for me really well. When she wakes up in the middle of the night and calls William Hurt and says, I need to see you. I can't stop thinking. I'm freaking out.
Yeah.
And he comes over, and it's a great acting exercise. It's one camera, one room, actor comes to the door, and somebody inside has a massive agenda. She opens that door. He walks in. There's a fire off screen burning and so your main key for the scene, and I really don't even know if there was any fill or backlight. It felt like it was just this fucking fire that was burning on the side, and it lit the shit out of her because she stays on the left side of frame, and William Hurt crosses all the way into darkness, and he's basically standing there in darkness, and she's saying, I'm terrified that what you're saying is true, and that you just tapped into something that is totally unknown. She has still got her feet on planet Earth in the light, freaking out about what has just happened, and we've already lost him. You don't even see his face in that fucking scene.
Was that when he kind of looked like an alien or a monkey man in the shadow with like his weird? It looked like his arms were really long too.
Maybe. I mean, it was definitely just.
He was standing in the hallway. He was standing in the hallway, but in the shadow.
That was a good one too, where he says, "I think Mason's feedback will be predictable or something." I'm talking about the one where he comes in and she's freaking out, and she's in her white nightgown, and she's just going up and down and pacing in front of the fire, and he's standing way off to the side in darkness. Whatever, it doesn't matter. That was really cool too, though. That was really cool too.
There's an article in American Cinematographer where he goes into all of the work that was put into capturing like both the natural sort of scenes like that and the practical effects, which wouldn't have worked as well if they weren't shot properly, and they really do sell.
When you say,
for me, dude,
when you say he, you're talking about Jordan Cronenweth, the DP. That's what you're saying.
The DP.
Yeah, he's talking about it.
I would like to read that.
Yeah.
I did not mind. And, I think they really earned the poltergeist, that final sequence.
Yeah, that was cool.
And that was...
Well, because something had to happen.
Again, that was just
something had to happen.
Fucking giant driver, I mean, they hit that. Right. They were like, no, we're going to 11, bitch. I mean, that was so much further than I thought. I did not think that was about to happen.
Yeah, me either.
And I loved some of the elements in there were so fucking effective. The Bob Balaban looking at that white screen and then just getting blown away by it. So simple. And it was, while the chaos was happening around them, the bending of the pipes, but it was those things that were really grounded in reality. Again, contradicting that made me the most unnerved. I wasn't quite sure about what the fuck was happening in there. And she hadn't gone in there yet and she hadn't seen it. But just the fact that there was something, they were all proven right and wrong at the same moment. And it suddenly became not life-threatening, but there was a physical threat. Like there was something could have happened that would have hurt them, even though I didn't think they were all about to die. I think that would have been too simple. I don't know, man. I thought it was.
What is it they say in Gross Point Blank? Shakabuku? A swift, sharp kick to the soul that alters your perception.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. I think my favorite imagery in this for sure, and this is, I don't even have the words to describe it, but this kind of imagery happens when you're tripping. And I thought they just did such a good job with it. When he's tripping the first time in Mexico and he's looking at a lizard, and then the lizard becomes her. And then he finally comes down and he's laying across from her and she's still perched up in like cobra position, like looking at him. And the wind starts blowing and it starts blowing down.
Yeah, and they start to erode.
Dude, that was
the dust.
Gorgeous.
The dust comes, they become like statues, and then the statues just become the earth. Yeah.
Like rocks in the earth. I was just like, oh my God, that was cool. Fucking
I remember
insane.
I remember making a note in the middle of that. It was like he took his drink and then sat the label in the dirt. The ladle. What if someone wants a second hit?
They all, I know, I was like, I guess we're only doing one hit. I guess that's enough.
Yeah.
I think it's enough. That one little, and then of course he takes it and he's like, I know exactly how to serve myself. I was like, what? Don't take too much. Like they just give him the ladle and he just has like this little sip. There's a lot of hot lava in those images too.
Yes,
you gotta give it up. But
for sure, some primordial shit.
I think the general takeaway is you can come up with so much, and it's obviously well done, but it's also so like, I just don't know what the director wanted, and I don't know if it really matters, but if you sit back and you go for this ride, you were going to be entertained. Even if it seems a little whack, even if it seems a little crazy and a little out there is enough to be grounded, whether it's like, William Hurt's more grounded. Oh, these images could really happen when you're tripping. I think it's okay to say there's enough that's grounded to give you that through line to keep plowing through and just let the fucking excitement go through you, because it's a fucking wild ride.
And also,
it's a wild ride.
When you get to the New York lab, where they have the actual tank, like the isolation tank, in the foreground, you can see the creation of the first CVS receipt. It's like draped down the front of the computer. Do you see that fucking long thing printing?
Of course we saw.
I was like, that's a motherfucking CVS receipt.
I think it's okay. I'm going to start winding this down.
Okay, wind this down. I know this version of this movie, if it existed in an age of CGI, I think it would have been
a failure.
So cheesy, it would have felt like there's a difference between, and I guess I want to make this clear just to bring my thesis home. There's a difference between taking a really big, bold, shameless, totally exposed, naked. By the way, there's tons of nudity in this movie and it's hilarious. Big naked swing, and then overreaching. And I think if this had all been done with a shit ton of CGI to try to make you go inside some massive trip kind of situation, I think that would have felt to me like a giant overreach. And I guess I do want to be clear about that. Even though I learned how to watch this movie while watching it, and I still think I'm not totally sure if I had a grip on it, I never felt like they were overreaching. I felt like they knew exactly what they were doing, and I was just playing catch up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I want to point out as well that a 70 millimeter cut of this exists too.
Jeez.
Just in case you're ever curious.
That's wow. Look, I just feel like
apparently the cast all tried out the isolation tank.
Oh yeah. And William Hurt claims he actually hallucinated a little bit.
Yeah.
Look, I just feel like
Have
when I
you
watched.
guys ever? Sorry.
No, I never have, and I know you did on your birthday one year. You did.
Therese has.
Yeah, you guys have never.
She went down and did it.
No.
My wife's done it, but I haven't. Yeah.
No, I know. I want to do it.
Dude, the last thing I want to be is alone with the fucking voices.
Look, I just feel like watching this movie, I just feel like my heart was being touched by Christ. They said that in the movie. It's so funny.
What did he say? What was that one really good line that he was trying to tell her? It's when she comes to see him and she's like, we should get married. And he like is ignoring the question. And he comes out and he says, studying schizophrenics. Oh, damn it. What's that line where he's like, sometimes I feel like we're trying to make schizophrenics see the world the way we, like their condition, the way we prescribe it, as opposed to us understanding that they may literally be physically built and see differently than we do.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I can't remember.
I don't know.
Shit, I'm fucking it up.
I'm trying to find it. That's good. Yeah.
It also kind of made me think, like, are they telling us that we should start thinking differently about expectations of this kind of story? I don't know. Not to get too deep there, but I was looking everywhere. I was like, what the hell is happening? I'm trying to understand how to watch this movie correctly. What'd you guys think of the ending? Tell me honestly.
I didn't understand it at all.
Yeah, it was why. I mean,
I think I need to read the book.
The fact that her and Bob Balaban just got excited, it's still confusing to me. Like, I feel like the fact that they were like, this is awesome. And I was like, what the fuck? So at that point, like, they could literally do anything. She could have died. She could have gone to fucking Nirvana. Like, I don't know. That's what he decided to do. And it was like, okay.
Yeah.
I
didn't have a visceral
he had
experience.
to like physically like hit the walls to come out of. What do you think that was about the anger? He kept talking about killing, and there was something very primal, and he had to use that same kind of energy. And
like he didn't need the tank anymore. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, that was him fighting himself, I think.
Yeah,
and the thousands of years of development inside of him. I don't know. It's fucking.
They got out of there quick too, didn't they? They were like, the movie's ever black.
Bye.
Yeah.
Yes,
we're happy. We're in a hallway. We're naked. Bye-bye.
I don't expect to go to sleep for a year. I'm on fucking fire. That's what Bob Balaban said, and I'm sure it's what everybody who saw this movie was saying. Going,
yeah, so good. Whole lot of talking over each other in our show and this movie. Right?
Yes.
How about that?
Yeah, we did this show in the style of that movie.
All right, friends. Well, hey, we could talk about this forever, of course, as always, but we got to wrap it up there so we can do what you've been watching tell you what we're watching next time. It's definitely worth watching. It is a renter, and it's a staple film. It's a staple film. You want to have a conversation with some film friends of yours, go ahead and watch this movie. If we haven't fucking ruined it already by talking about it here and you haven't seen it yet, give it a rent. Get your Amazon Prime Day. I'm not putting up Amazon, but the marketplace is good. Just don't buy their products. Buy actual products. Anyway. And then get your credit for a free rental on a film. That's what I do. Dave, we're going to spin the random year generator. I was so close. I was off by a year last time. Okay, so 1980. We were in the 40s before. I know that's not how chance works. It's every year has the same chance of getting picked. I'm going to go 1982.
Okay.
I'm going to go 2003.
All right, let's see. Okay. Next week, we're going to be talking about a movie from 2000. John? What? Oh my God!
That's the second time you've guessed that.
That is the second time, baby.
Out of all the years. It's 100 years to choose from because Dave's fucking thing goes back.
I just want to clarify. He has the only person who knows what number's about to come out is me, which is why I don't guess.
What? I was off by 1 year last week and John nails it this week?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Are we
I'm
clairvoyant?
2 for 80. Or
yeah, right.
That's
more than
300.
that.
How many times we've done this?
Well, the odds are low.
I don't know whether you saw on YouTube now, I've divided them up into the films of series up into like every decade. So it's like films of the 40s, films of the 50s, films of the 60s.
Sweet, dude.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, 2003 is a great film year. We definitely did box office face-off. We've probably been here in a random year, but we're not going to sit here and Google movies. We're going to tell you at the very end of the episode, pretty soon, what movie from 2003 we're going to be talking about in a week. Well, really 2 weeks, but what the fuck do you care? So we're going to tell you what you've been watching right now. We're going to give you our recommendations, tell you what we've been watching. Dave, it's only been 5 days since our last episode. Have you been able to watch anything?
Oh, yeah. Just today, I did a rewatch of The Prestige.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah,
Did you like it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's great.
It's all about bringing him back, Dave. It's all about bringing him back.
Yep. And I've had a movie on my list that I've wanted to watch for a long time from 1973 called Don't Look Now. It was billed as like a psychological horror thing.
Yeah.
It takes so long to get going.
Sure. Yes.
As such.
Yes.
I got bored and turned it off.
No.
So I can't really recommend that.
Did you get to the sex scene? Did you get to the mirror scene where she's in the bathroom with the women at the restaurant?
Yeah.
Pretty trippy stuff. That's pretty amazing.
It's kind of
weird, manipulative cinematography.
Yeah, it's kind of trippy, but
is that who it is?
Not much else. What?
Who directed that?
It's
Nicholas Roeg. Yeah.
I don't know. I'll go back and finish it, but I just it's one. I was a disappointment so far because one I've had on my list for so long. And speaking of disappointments, this is not a recommendation at all. Well, it sort of is. The film series The Old Guard, they made one a couple of years ago. It's about a group of immortals who fight, like they take missions because they're immortal, basically, and they've decided to work with humanity and protect them. And they made this movie, and it was good. It was fun. We watched it. We waited 3-4 fucking years for The Old Guard 2 to come out. And then we finally watched it the other day, and we're sitting there watching it, and it's getting like dramatic, and things are resolved, and things are sorting itself out. And the two women that are in the scene walk on, and they're okay. You ready for this fight? Yep, I'm ready. Credits.
What?
I was like, you motherfuckers! There's a part 3, and knowing it's Netflix, we may never get that. Like, they don't give a fuck. They'll
Netflix,
just go, they're Netflix movies.
Originals. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Dave, you got to tell your friends, share. That's how you got.
Yeah, everybody watch The Old Guard so we can finally find out how it finishes. It is. Wow. They are good. I will say they are good. It's a fun action film, right. And they definitely play with the what if you're immortal sort of thing.
Fun.
Nice.
So, yeah.
John, what you been watching?
And it's Charlize Theron in an action role. So,
hey.
Doesn't suck.
Oh, shit. Cool. Wow. Don't Look Now is a great movie. I would probably not have recommended it to you. I'm not surprised you're not loving it very much, but that movie is powerful as fuck. Nothing. I watched nothing. I was on hosting mode. My family was in town.
Hey.
Brandon, the Dasein just moved to Pasadena near us.
Yes.
So he was here. Parents were here visiting. We went up to a place with some friends over the weekend. Anyway, haven't seen shit. How about you?
All I'm hearing is excuses.
Christ. Out of nowhere, Led Zeppelin has a documentary on Netflix where they talk about forming the band. I was like, this is the band that
It's not the one that was in theaters like the past few months?
I don't know. Was it? It's on Netflix.
There was a big documentary that went to IMAX, and it was in theaters for like a month, like 2 or 3 months ago.
Led Zeppelin, really? You never talked about it. It's not like I would have known. It's called Becoming Led Zeppelin. It's a 2025 documentary that went to the Venice Film Festival in 2021. Anyway, I don't know where it was, but who gives a shit?
Was it good?
Yeah, it was good. The sound is so good. The sound. Oh my God. Just listen to it.
I mean, if you're going to do with a documentary of that band, you've got to have good sound.
Yeah. Look, Robert Plant is amazing, and Jimmy Page is the leader of the group by far. He's older than everybody else. He put the group together, and I can't believe there's no rhythm guitar and lead guitar. I can't believe there's just one guitarist. Obviously, in some songs, he layered himself. But
you can when it's Jimmy Page. You're like, oh, okay.
I can't believe, most people, like even Radiohead, you need 2 guitarists. You need a rhythm guitar. You need a lead guitar. He's the only one. I can't believe that. But the bass and the drums. The way John Paul Jones and John Bonham work together is what makes Led Zeppelin way better than everybody else. And the sound, if you have a good sound bar like I do and a good little subwoofer, the sound, the dance that the two of them do.
Off neighbors.
Yeah, well, I know I don't have anybody left next to me. It's amazing. And the people above me are on vacation. It's fucking awesome. I cranked that shit so loud. Actually, I like halfway through the movie, I looked and I was like, oh my God, am I tormenting my cat right now? I thought I was tormenting my cat. But guys, it's so good. Turn the sound up and listen to it. It's so good.
I feel like especially music documentaries now, after Moonage Daydream, the Bowie one, like they raised the bar.
Well, the Bowie one
roof with sound,
I remember that with IMAX, and there's a couple other ones where they like filmed it for a theatrical experience. And this obviously Dolby, Dave, your big Dolby
This one's,
sound.
Yeah.
So anyway,
what'd you think of Whole Lot of Love with the opening of F1?
That was fun. I mean, it was fun because I had just seen it literally the night before I watched this, so that was cool. That's a good choice. I still like Ramble On. I mean, Whole Lot of Love's so good. It's you can't get better than Whole Lot of Love. But I love Ramble On. And anyway, whatever. None of this matters. But yeah, it was a good choice.
When the levee breaks, baby. Oh man, cool. All right.
Immigrant
well,
song.
we're going to take a quick break. We will pick our movie, and we will be right fucking back.
And we're back.
We're back.
All right, we made our choice. 2003. We have been here before with one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life, and I think you'll all agree. Memories of Murder.
And one of the other best movies we've ever seen in our lives, 21 Grams.
Fucking
we
hell,
did do
man.
that, right? Right?
I feel like we did, and I wasn't on that episode or something.
I feel like that did get done.
Oh God, two amazing movies.
Yeah.
So we're coming back here to 2003 again. So many good choices. Mystic River was close on our list. So if you really wanted us to talk about Mystic River, send Dave some hate mail. But we have decided that we're going to do The House of Sand and Fog.
Call the number.
We are trying to somehow get through Roger Deakins' entire catalog as a cinematographer here. But The House of Sand and Fog. It's a renter. It's fun. It's got Academy Award winner Ben Kingsley at the helm and Jennifer Connelly.
I'm
who
guessing
doesn't want to watch
it's
a Jennifer Connelly movie?
Fun? I think it's probably not fun.
You don't think so? Well, we're going to find out by next week. I don't know. I don't know. The title and the picture of the poster looks pretty fun to me. So let's go. House of Sand and Fog.
I'm very excited to watch it.
Dave's excited about it, and he picked a good one this week. Thank you, Dave. Anything you want to say before we head out, film fans?
There never is.
You too?
We good.
Okay. See ya.
Peace.